Christopher Nolan isn't just a director, he's the filmmaker who changed the way I see cinema. He is my all-time favorite filmmaker, and as he reaches a new, monumental height with The Odyssey, I felt it was time to embark on a journey of my own. To understand where he's going, we have to look back at where he started. I want to trace the evolution of his style, from those first low-budget experiments to the global spectacles that define his name today. This is an exploration of a legacy built on precision and puzzles. This is a multi-part series celebrating the craft of a master. This is my Nolannsey. Every legend has a beginning, and for Nolan, it started in 1998 with Following. What's most striking about this debut isn't just the story, but the sheer technical discipline shown on a shoestring budget of just $6,000. To put that in perspective, he and his crew, mostly friends and family, could only afford to shoot on Saturdays because they all had full-time jobs. They spent months rehearsing every single movement to ensure they didn't waste a single foot of expensive 16mm film. In many ways, the perfectionist reputation Nolan has today was born out of this necessity. He had to be perfect because he couldn't afford to be wrong. By using natural lighting and handheld cameras, Nolan turned his financial limitations into a gritty, voyeuristic style. The grainy black and white aesthetic doesn't feel like a budget choice. It feels like a deliberate nod to classic film noir, a genre Nolan has essentially been reinventing for 3 decades. While the film operates as a mystery, it quickly establishes the Nolan DNA, the non-linear structure, and an obsession with how we perceive time. Even here, in a 70-minute indie film, he's already playing with the audience's sense of when we are. It also introduces us to a recurring figure in his work, the Nolan protagonist. Jeremy Theobald plays the young man, the blueprint for the clever male lead who is convinced he's in control while being driven by a singular, dangerous obsession. In this case, it's the urge to follow strangers just to see where they go. Critics often point to this character archetype, usually a white male in a sharp suit, as a lack of range. But in this retrospective, we're looking at it as a constant variable. We're watching how this specific type of man handles a collapsing dream, or the weight of history. In Following, we see the rawest version of this. It's a cynical proof of concept that shows a director already experimenting with how to manipulate an audience's expectations through editing, a skill he would soon perfect on a global scale. Following got the industry's attention, but his next project, Memento, was the one that truly challenged the traditional Hollywood mold. If Following was the proof of concept, Memento was the masterclass. It's the film that proved Nolan's obsession with structure wasn't just a gimmick, it was a functional way to put the audience inside a fractured mind. The brilliance of Memento lies in its dual-track timeline. One moves forward in black and white while the other moves backward in color. They meet in the middle in a way that is technically staggering once you map it out. It forces the audience to experience the same disorientation as Leonard Shelby, a man who cannot form new memories. We don't know how he got into a situation. For the same reason he doesn't, we haven't seen the past yet. This is where Nolan first invites the audience to play the movie rather than just watch it. Guy Pearce's Leonard fits the Nolan protagonist blueprint perfectly, sharp-suited and seemingly in control despite his condition. But here, Nolan adds a layer of deep tragedy. Leonard uses his intelligence to construct a truth that doesn't exist, fueled by a cycle of revenge that he can never truly finish, because he won't be able to remember the relief of justice. Think about the John G. reveal. It's not just a plot twist, it's a commentary on how we all curate our own memories to fit the narrative we want to believe about ourselves. For me, Memento remains a peak of neo-noir. It takes the classic tropes and twists them into a mind-bending mystery that rewards the viewer for every second of attention. It didn't just put Nolan on the map, it redefined what a psychological thriller could be. It proved that audiences were much smarter than Hollywood gave them credit for. With a massive critical hit under his belt, Nolan made the jump to major studio filmmaking with the 2002 remake of Insomnia. This film occupies a fascinating space because it's the only film in his career that Nolan directed but didn't write himself. Because of that, it lacks the complex time-bending puzzles we usually expect, but it excels as an atmospheric character study. The film served as a bridge, proving Nolan could manage massive stars like Al Pacino and Robin Williams, while maintaining a distinct visual identity. The setting becomes a character in itself. The use of the midnight sun to mirror a deteriorating mental state is a classic Nolan touch. Instead of using shadows to create dread like a traditional noir, he uses blinding, inescapable light to keep the protagonist and the audience on edge. It's a literal representation of being unable to hide from your own guilt. Al Pacino gives a weary, grounded performance as Will Dormer, a detective losing his grip on his morals and his sanity. But Robin Williams is the real standout here. Playing against his comedic type, he portrays Walter Finch with a chillingly calm intellectual energy. It's a cat and mouse game where the lines between hero and villain are blurred by exhaustion and shared secrets. Looking back, Insomnia was the professional audition. He proved he could handle a big studio budget and a linear narrative without losing his creative soul. It's a moody, heavy film about the weight of guilt and how one compromise can lead to a total moral collapse. It showed that even without reverse chronology or dream heist, Nolan was a top-tier director of tension. He proved he could deliver a studio movie that still felt like a Nolan movie. The foundation was set. In these first 3 films, Christopher Nolan conquered the indie scene, reinvented the thriller, and proved he could play with the major studios on his own terms. He established the themes that would define his entire career: the obsession of men, the subjectivity of truth, and the relentless manipulation of time. But Phase 1 is just the beginning of the ascent. Phase 2, that's where things get massive. In the next part of this retrospective, we're heading to the rain-soaked streets of Gotham for Batman Begins, diving into the deadly rivalry and stagecraft of The Prestige, and witnessing the era where Nolan's vision truly met a global scale. We'll see how he took the lessons from these 3 small films and applied them to the biggest canvas imaginable. If you're excited to see how this journey leads all the way to the Odyssey, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps my channel grow and lets me know you're along for the ride. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.